mother always compares me to my childhood self. I was 27, and my mother still spoke to me as if I were 8. That morning, while I was having breakfast in her kitchen, she looked me up and down, and without warning said, "You used to have such a sweet little face with those rosy cheeks. Now you seem dull." It wasn't the first time. For as long as I can remember as an adult, every conversation with her ended with some comparison to the old me. In her words, the version of me that deserved to exist was frozen in school photographs, embroidered dresses, perfect braids. "Mom, I'm not that little girl," I said, pouring myself coffee. "Of course not. That little girl knew how to behave." The comment cut deeper than I wanted to admit. Ever since I'd moved back in with her after my relationship fell apart, living together had turned into a constant evaluation. If I didn't smile enough, she'd say, "You used to be so happy as a kid." If I came home late from work, she'd remind me, "You used to be so responsible." One Sunday, I came back from an outing with friends to find her in my room, going through a box of my things. In her hands, she held a childhood photo album. "Look at this," she said, showing me a picture of me in a yellow dress. "You had such a sparkle in your eyes. I don't know when you lost it." I snatched the album from her. "I'm not a portrait, Mum." She let out a theatrical sigh. "Don't get defensive. It just hurts me to see you. So different." But I knew it wasn't concern. It was her way of reminding me that, in her eyes, I'd gone downhill. I started noticing she did it in front of others too. One afternoon, my aunt came over for coffee, and in the middle of the conversation, my mother said, "Do you remember how pretty she was as a child? People always looked at her. Now, well, it's not the same." I felt my aunt's uncomfortable gaze and a flush of heat in my cheeks. I stayed quiet, but inside I was boiling. The comparisons turned sharper after I got a new job. On my second day, I came home excited because I'd been praised in a meeting. She barely looked up from her phone. "When you were little, everyone said you'd go far. Now, with how long it's taken you to get stable, I'm not so sure." I began avoiding her. I ate in my room, left the house before she woke up, invented overtime to skip dinner together. But even from a distance, her words followed me. Messages like, "You used to be more affectionate," or "You were prettier as a child," appeared on my phone without context, as if to remind me that, to her, my current self was a downgrade. The final straw came on my birthday. I had planned a small dinner at home with some friends, trying to include her to avoid more criticism. In the middle of the night, as she hugged me for a photo, she said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Look how grown up she is," though she was never as pretty as when she was 7. The awkward laughs and the silence that followed left me frozen. I didn't respond. I couldn't not without exploding. That night, after everyone left, I went to her room. "Why did you do that?" I asked. She looked at me as if she didn't understand. "Do what?" I told the truth. "You used to have something special, and it pains me that it's gone. That something was never mine forever," I said, my voice shaking. "And you have no right to use it to make me feel less." She gave a faint smile. "Maybe if you understood, you'd go back to how you were." I realized she had never wanted to accept me as I am now. To her, I was an album left open on one specific page, and anything that didn't match that image was a failed version. A few days later, I started looking for an apartment. I didn't tell her until I had the keys in my hand. When I finally broke the news, she studied me in silence, as if trying to decide whether my decision was temporary rebellion or something permanent. "When you want to be who you used to be, I'll be here," she said. I didn't answer. I just gathered my things, leaving behind the album she loved so much.